So I've waited over a year to talk about this, the Carnivore Priming Protocol. Initially I was a bit suspicious of its negative effects, but I was wooed by a few selective anecdotes of people online who have used it, and they've used it effectively, so I'm not poo-pooing that. However, it turns out this protocol seems to apparently, in my experience, keyword, my experience, 2 words, what have you. Anyway, it yields more harm than good, so I have nothing to gain from this video at all. Maybe a couple of thousand views, a couple of hate emails, maybe a message through my Instagram, WhatsApp, or whatever it's saying, "Hey Jonathan, I noticed you talked about our Carnivore Priming Protocol, but I think there's been a miscommunication or understanding, or maybe a misrepresentation of what's happened." And I'm going to go through the whole bloody thing, because I spent a year wanting to talk about this, and it's pissing me off. So my best video to date is a video on the Carnivore Priming Protocol. Now, I'm going to get a lot of people unsubscribe from me for this video, but I've got 10,000 subscribers at this point. That was my goal, and I think at this point I can be trusted as a reliable source of information on the internet, at least in this space, about this topic. Nonetheless, in my experience working with over 400 carnivores, probably close to 500 at this point, I found it largely ineffective. Now I do have some notes here so I don't forget any points, because my mind does seem to go off track a bit, as I do live with autism and synesthesia. This won't be a long video, so I'll get to the point. I'm sitting here in a lot of pain. My spine is diseased as fuck, and I've had a procedure recently, which means I cannot sit for long at all, but I'll do my best to get through the points. So if I look a bit hazy-eyed, it's because I'm tired and I'm in a lot of pain. Anyway, I tried the Carnivore Priming Protocol myself, as laid out, as explained through Raymond, Nazon and Adek. Great people, nothing personal against them, nothing personal against people. I'm debating or contending the idea of the protocol itself and its effectivity. You know, talk about the protocol, not the person, not the people. That's what I'm getting at here. Anyway, so about 2.5 years in, I tried the Carnivore Priming Protocol, and that was into my carnivore diet, lifestyle way of eating. So I was fully transitioned into carnivore diet at that point. Now, just prior to my spinal fusion surgery, maybe a few weeks before, I actually was suggested to try it, and there was no caveat, no nuance, no individualism, no, oh, but maybe you need to do this or that, nothing like that whatsoever at all. Zero. Zilch. It is on record. Anyway, during that time, I lost sleep. I felt like crap, and the sleep was a big one for me. I'm not someone that can afford to lose sleep, and I felt just terrible overall because of the advice I was given. Now, when you have a spinal surgery, it is the second most painful and probably one of the most abrasive surgeries you can possibly have. So I was going into it on the back foot. I was handicapped prior to being handicapped because of the Carnivore Priming Protocol. Caveat: I'm not trying to be a bombastic, sensationalistic, scaremongering person like a certain person in the nutrition space online, but I'm trying to provide a scientific and measured approach towards improving body composition and health outcomes. Anyone that's been following my channel for a while knows that my mantra, my slogan is aligning physique goals with positive health outcomes, and it has been this since day one. Anyway, this is the critical look of the Carnivore Priming Protocol. So the definition, as defined by Coach Nazon at the time, I've heard it from him twice, is to eat only animal-based products, primarily meat, for a specified period of time. I believe it's usually 2 to 3 weeks. Depends. They say try and do it for as long as you can. Fair enough. The guidelines have to be broad because they're guidelines. That's what guidelines are. Anyway, you have to typically eat 3 meals per day. 3 square meals, as much as you can, pretty much until you're completely stuffed. And some people can conclude their meal with coffee as a dessert, as defined by Raymond. That's what he said. I don't know. Whatever I can't remember why he said that, but that's what it is, basically, according to him. Anyway, the goals are to reset the metabolic rate, get the metabolic processes back to normal, reduce inflammation over time using the feasting fasting protocol, Then reduce cravings. So the idea is that you only eat animal food, so you get used to it and your mind thinks, okay, this is what I need to eat. The idea is you can upregulate your metabolic processes so you can digest more meat as time goes on, and also fast for longer as time goes on. Now, obviously, eating a carnivore diet simplifies the process because you're just eating a few foods. So it's great you're eating nutrient-dense foods, you're eliminating all the crap from your diet. But there are pros and cons to it. I'm going to go through all of them the best as I can. So obviously, the nutrient density side of it are very good. Can't fault that. No problems there. Potential weight loss, maybe. Not for most. Not for most. Most people do not lose weight on the Carnivore Priming Protocol, in my experience. And I'm going to go through all this at the end in my own little bit. So just stay tuned if you're listening and thinking, this guy's an idiot, who's he talking to? Bollocks. Listen to the end of the video. Anyway, inflammation reduction, as I said earlier. Simplicity, simple stuff works. Don't change your plan, it doesn't work, but I've got some problems with it. I'm going to go through them just right now. So, you could potentially be actually causing nutrient deficiencies because of it, especially if you're doing the coffee with the meals. Some people, perhaps that's something that gives them intestinal permeability. Perhaps it reduces the absorption of foods that they're taking in. Now, one thing that I've noticed with everyone I've spoken to pretty much is your digestion goes to crap. Quite literally, you're literally crapping all the time because you're putting an enormous bolus of food through your digestive system, which is more than what it can tolerate at that given time. I understand the point of it, the metabolic reset side of it, but there's much less abrasive, more sensible approaches. And I'm all about finding sensible approaches to bigger problems. And what I notice of people trying this is they don't have many problems at all. They try it because they've seen, I don't know who, because I'm just talking out my arse here, but say it was Carnivore Cat, for example, and say she weighed 700 pounds. Yeah, put anyone on a plan where they weigh 700 pounds, they're going to lose weight. If they just restrict their food, they go from eating, I don't use calories as a metric, but say 10,000 labelled food calories of Skittles and Mars bars to eating 5,000 calories. Some people do consume that much when they're doing a priming protocol of meat. They're going to lose fat, they're going to lose weight, especially if they're 600-700 pounds. So that's not a surprise. Now, the next point, the gut microbiome impact, which I've alluded to already. Putting in several kilos of food when your digestive system, or at least your gut, typically holds about 400 to 500 milliliters at one given time, without stretching it, is probably deleterious to your gut. Now, all that food has to be digested. It will take longer, you'll be backed up, you'll be stuffy breathing. If your gut is that big, guys, it's not hard to understand. If your gut is that big, you put that much food in it, where's it going to go except down or up? Not ideal. If you can't breathe, you've got asthma, you've got heavy musculature or just excess over fatness, body fat, then you're going to struggle to sleep because you can't breathe because all that space your gut is filled to fuck. It's stupid. It's not sensible. Now, obviously, there's different concerns relating to monotony. I suggest people just eat a mixed animal foods diet, which is, I believe, what they advocate as well, which is great. It kind of reminds me on the force feeding practices they use for short periods for, animals, foie gras, to give them fatty liver so people can consume it. It just reminds me of that. You're giving an over-fat animal more and more food and stuffing it to death, giving it a very poor quality of life. So, in essence, you're basically raising animals to live a shit life. Now, I know this is only for 2 to 3 weeks, but if you had a choice between living comfortably, going to bed, maybe holding an extra 10 pounds, but, sleeping all right, things going all right, you'll eventually get to your end point in your carnivore way of eating. Most of these people that try this, I know this because I actually signed up, I bought the membership, and I, looked for the line. They've been doing it for like 3 months. They've gone through every bloody extreme possible. The clients, the spectators of this content, whatever. And they're starting it from a point where, I can't really stay in the diet very long. I'm a month in. Well, no wonder you're a month in. I say to most people, it takes about 6 months to really get your cravings intact. Not because, your body is going to take 6 months, but your mind takes a long time. And that's why there's people like Pim Johnson, my friend Nicole, a former Fat Girl Nutrition, Dark Horse Nutrition, I think she's called now, that deal with food addiction, carbohydrate addiction. They're sensible people to talk to, much more so than trying out these extreme protocols. Now, there are sometimes cases where you do an extreme protocol for extreme results. Bodybuilding, maybe fasting, dry fasting, water fasting, if you're significantly over fat. There's even a case to be made for the use of GLP-1 agonists for significantly over fat people. If someone's going to drop dead within about a month if they continue the way of eating, but they have a choice to actually reduce their food intake because they've taken a substance which not ideal. Maybe everything else isn't working. Maybe the carnivore diet isn't working, so therefore they have to take GLP-1 agonists. Well, the drugs are quite effective nowadays, so you'd always find some mechanistic data saying, oh, it's bad. Yeah, every drug is bad. There's side effects to every drug. But what's going to give people longevity, health span, lifespan, body composition changes? That's what we're looking at here. Next point. Now, many individuals, especially the women that I notice, report disrupted sleep. Women typically cannot eat as much as men, and they do have more sensitive systems, more sensitive hormonal profiles. So the sleep problems, overall malaise, digestive distress, emotional fluctuations, which can happen when people transition quickly through diets. Gut microbiome changes itself, renews itself every 3 weeks approximately for most people. So if you're going from one diet to the next, to the next, to the next every couple of weeks, you're going to feel like shit. I don't care if it's carnivore or not. Most people will feel like crap if they're going from a fat-based diet to carbohydrate-based diet, or vice versa. There's always a sensitivity adaptation process that takes place. Now, the other thing I do have to mention is the lack of monitoring, which goes back to what I said. I was told to do it, or strongly suggested to do it, without any monitoring. No sort of, how's it going? No, they didn't give a crap about me. Not a representation of who they are as people, necessarily, but I'll say there's no follow-up, no contingency. Try this, see ya, bye. Didn't help me, okay. But because people like me sort of think, oh, well, for some people, yeah, sort of go through the roses and smell the flowers and just get on with it and forget. No, I'm not forgetting about it. This is a bad experience and I suffered for it. And so did many of my clients. That's why I'm fed up after a year of talking, behind closed doors of people and influencers who have actually been on this program, who have said, not good at all. Now, I think also the success stories are quite underrepresentative. So they're usually extreme cases of people that are significantly over fat who would experience a benefit no matter what they did, because, like I said earlier, they're not eating Mars bars. Now, this overshadows the need for broader lifestyle and mental health improvements. So they're thinking diet is everything, and diet is a big proportion of what we do in terms of body composition and health as a nutrition coach online. But it's not everything. Not every consult I have is, increase protein a bit, reduce fat, try this, try that. It's not, mostly it's about just dealing with people. That's what a good coach is. They deal with people to the best of their ability and at least promote the best ethical and moral standpoint they can to getting them the results that they need and want. So also the other side of it is the community influence. So there are some positive psychological effects attributed to a supportive community. So the Steak and Butter Gang, not to point them out, but any group online which says, carnivore, come join my coaching, we'll help you, answer questions, whatever. Now, it may influence adherence despite adverse physical reactions because everyone's saying they get results, or everyone that is saying anything is getting results. How often do you guys look for reviews online that says 5-star, 5-star, 5-star? The reality is probably most of them are about 3-star, but the 3-star people don't give a damn enough to worry about losing their money if it's a product, for example, or a service, to say, no, I didn't get what I wanted, but, it's a bit of cash. Never mind, leave the group or just carry on with it and just tootle along and just think I'm in the best place possible to get the results that I need, which may or may not be the case. I can't say. I will say that they are generating around $300,000 worth of income per month, apparently, according to several sources that I've heard. I can't mention the sources because that's a conflict of interest for them. It's not something I need to go into really. But I will say that it's a lot of money. And if these people aren't getting results, relook at things. Relook at things there. Now, obviously, there's a side of it which is, you know, reverting back to previous habits. How is someone going to go from priming for 2 to 3 weeks, stuffing the faces full of carnivore food, animal food, to going to not eating for 2 days straight, if they're used to eating so much every single day? Some people do. It gives some people that, like, oh, I've eaten enough and I don't want to eat for like 3 days. I know that myself. Sometimes you want to clear your guts out. But many people are food addicts. Most people are probably food addicts. The nutrition system around the world is set up to be that way. I spoke with Dr. Joan Ifland roughly a year or so ago, and she's like, you know what, guys, it's not your fault. The food system is the way it is, and it's made to serve them, not you. It's made to work against you. So I completely understand people that cannot stick to, you know, the fasting, feasting, rolling 48s, or, you know, whatever they call it. I do understand that. It's hard to do. I probably couldn't do it. I probably wouldn't enjoy doing it either. Not for me, personally. But many people will regain the body fat that they may have lost through this. Now, what happens when you can't sustain alternate day fasting or rolling 48s dictated by this protocol? What happens then? You fall off, or do you do a different thing? Do you do the sardine fast? Do you eat a stick of butter a day? What do you do then? These things are bracketed time span things. Next, like cycles. Now, coming from me as a bodybuilder, yeah, there's obviously cycles to things in case of you go through a fat loss phase and a gaining phase, but these things aren't every like 2 weeks this, 2 weeks this, 3 weeks. They're like you're going at it trying to gain muscle mass for 2 to 3 years straight. For example, ketogenic bodybuilder Robert Sykes, my good friend, he's a natural bodybuilder and he's looking to compete in a couple of years' time. He's not going to make the progress he wants if he's chop and changing all the time. So what he's doing right now is effectively trying to gain some lean muscle mass, just temper things as they go on, then make the small changes needed to continue with the results that he wants, and then look at his results, look at his objective and subjective markers, reassess, is the intervention working, yes or no? No, okay. Next thing, I don't know, lose body fat. How is he going to do that? I'm going to do a 2-week thing of this, then I'm going to increase it by this when I've reached this goal. But these bracketed time spans don't work. They have to have a loose guideline. It works better. Some people might need 2 days of priming. Some people might need, I don't know, I think Coach Deck said she did it for 2 months or something, or she ate enormous amount of food, something like that. But there's people on either end of the bell curve, and that's what I'm not a fan of. Those people are getting forgotten about. I don't like it. Not a fan. Now, there's going to be special cases, as I know, people that have made this far into the video. Thank you, I appreciate that. Many people will not, and they'll just say in the comment section below, yeah, but Professor Bart K did it, and Coach Stephen Thomas did it, and yeah, a select few other influencers did it. Great. You know, I'm friends with these people. They're great people. I have no doubt that they're telling the truth. They're honest people. However, they did have the advantage of proper explanation, which I didn't have, and they had the guidance through coaching, and they possess a deeper understanding of physiology compared to the average individuals attempting this without similar support. So to people who are likely to comment saying, I did it and it worked great, well, excellent. I'm progression and results focused, and that's good for you. However, as an actual certified, real life, backed up, can legitimize it, nutrition coach, amongst other accreditations to my name. Apologies for the appeal to authority, but people are going to say, yeah, but you don't know what to talk about. Well, I've built the body, I've got the accreditations, I've got the certifications, and I've got testimonials to back it up. So what more do you want? If my word isn't good enough, move on to the next video, listen to someone else. I'm an idiot. There we go, I've said it. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, I can wholeheartedly tell you that I do have an ethical and moral obligation to show people the full side of the story. So that's why I'm going through all of this. The same way I'm a bit of an advocate for high protein intake, typically for most people. However, there's always a client-centered approach regardless. So you may have heard the phrase, something like the squeakiest wheel in a bike is the one that gets oiled first, or the voice that shouts loudest gets heard the most, something like that. And this is true for the carnivore movement. So you'll see these guys in the videos, in the live stream, in a Q&A, in a chat, interview, you know, what's his name? Carnivore Cat, whoever her name is. These are fictional people. I don't actually know if there is a real person. But they'll go on video and say, I've lost 500 pounds. Great. That's good to hear. I'm not against that at all. But I will say that generally these are challenges and protocols that are over the top and have been largely pied off by silent observers and participants like myself, at least until now, due to its potentially ill effects. Now, I've got more critiques on the protocol. I'll just summarise it really just by saying the Carnivore Priming Protocol oversimplifies a complex issue by focusing narrowly on diet while disregarding broader health, lifestyle and psychological factors which are essential for a sustained and healthy well-being. So what's my solution to this? Is it something I sell? Do I have a book for this? Yeah, I do have a Carnivore Bodybuilding Beef Up guidebook. It's £10, guys. You'll get much more out of that than you'll probably get through 12 months of virtually any program online. It's all up to date and it is well researched and it's been written by 2 people that are qualified professionals in the field of nutrition and exercise physiology. Now, my approach to this would be a leptin reset protocol. Not for everyone. Again, nothing is for everyone, but it is a good idea for a lot of people. So this effectively from Dr. Jack Cruz, he essentially made it. I do have his book, which I paid for. I read through it all. Basically, long story short, it's a way to optimize leptin sensitivity to regulate hunger, metabolism, and energy balance. It emphasizes nutrient-dense foods, regular meal timing, and holistic lifestyle changes to support metabolic health. So why is a leptin reset protocol more effective and sustainable? Well, before I go into that and explain that in extreme detail, as I will do, I've just got to show you the short 34-second clip.
Check out my site at compositionconsultant.com, where your journey to peak performance and optimal health begins. With a degree in human nutrition and over 15 years of training experience, I've guided more than 400 carnivores to not just meet, but exceed their physique and performance goals. Through personalised consultations, comprehensive ebooks and dedicated coaching, I'm here to ensure your success. Join the ranks of those who have transformed their lives. It's time to align your physique goals with positive health outcomes. Visit compositionconsultant.com today and take the first step towards the best version of you.
Excellent. Well, thank you for watching that. Now, getting back to the point about the leptin reset protocol. Basically, what it does is it emphasizes metabolic health through hormonal pathways. So you're going to get balanced nutrition, optimized gut health. You're adding in the biohacking sphere, biosphere side of it. So the blue light blocking, the appropriate sunlight exposure in the morning, eating early, resetting leptin, all that sort of thing, getting enough protein in, giving your body that signal that it feels full. And yeah, I mean, you're not going to feel stuffed after doing this for 2 weeks like the priming protocol, but it'll work eventually. That's the point. The point isn't how quickly can you get from A to B, it's how effectively you can get there, but sustain it. It's not about quick fixes, guys. Also, some people may need to drop out coffee from the diet if they're following the priming protocol. So, you know, loosely speaking, the diet is individual. Some people tolerate it, some people don't. I'd say most people do, so I'm not really against that advice, but that's just me. Also, just because the protocol is animal-based or carnivore, it doesn't mean that the foods consumed are innocuous to the intestinal barrier. So the reason that I say this is through clinical data from Paleomedicina, they've actually found that if they somewhat restrict food volume in terms of the mass of food, they facilitate appropriate zonulin levels that can be used as a measure for intestinal permeability, i.e. stuffing your face with too much food probably isn't good for your gut wall. Also, this approach, leptin reset, a bit more flexible. Again, I don't sell a book on it, so I'm not trying to profit from this. I'm just trying to give you guys good information, and that's sincerely the truth. Also, it's more holistic. It addresses the diet, sleep patterns, stress management, physical activity, and just allows a comprehensive array of health benefits, in my opinion. Now, it also provides a middle ground where, you know, it's kind of like you're not going to get the slow, arduous approach or reverse dieting that Robert Sykes, my friend, uses. But also at the same time, you're not using something so abrasive and quick fixy, you know. It's kind of like a middle ground. So I'm more of a fan of that. And I think it will probably serve the whole bodily system a bit better, just because it implements lots of different cogs, which can be tuned as you need based on what you find most effective. So the leptin sensitivity side of it, science to support my claims. The research does support the role of diet and lifestyle in enhancing leptin sensitivity, which is crucial for appetite regulation and weight management, which means carnivore diet, sunlight exposure, appropriate stuff, blue light blocking glasses, all that sort of thing, after dark, usual stuff. Also, the evidence actually indicates that a diverse whole animal food diet is probably better. So some people will try this priming protocol with a lion diet, unknowingly, not knowingly, they might not know it, and they're eating just one food. Now, eating 6 kilos of beef in one day probably isn't much fun. Well, I don't know. That's just my own kind of subjective feel to it. I personally wouldn't want to do that. Some people do it, and that's fine, but very limited, guys. But virtually no one follows the carnivore lion diet online that I speak with personally through consultations. Very few, maybe a handful of people I've met over the past couple of years, so not many people at all. More of a fan of the animal-based kind of mixed animal food diet, really. So just to conclude this whole talk, really, so the Carnivore Priming Protocol does offer some short-term benefits, i.e. you're not going to want to eat after it, but there's potential for issues in terms of sustainability, long-term health. It misses a lot of the psychological factors involved with just well-being and being able to sustain something, which I think is probably more important for a lot of people on the carnivore diet. Now, hopefully you guys have found that useful. It's 27 minute talk on priming. I've given you the ins, the outs, pretty much everything I can possibly tell you really about the carnivore diet and priming. So if you like this video, leave a like. If not, also comment as well. Let me know how much of an idiot I am, and just tell me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm bold, muggly, I look 40 years old. I'm goofy. Just keep coming out of it. Keep fueling the algorithm. Keep, creating me profit. Nah, don't do that, guys. It's annoying. But take care, and hopefully it's been insightful. And I'll see you guys soon.
Check out my site at compositionconsultant.com, where your journey to peak performance and optimal health begins. With a degree in human nutrition and over 15 years of training experience, I've guided more than 400 carnivores to not just meet, but exceed their physique and performance goals. Through personalised consultations, comprehensive ebooks and dedicated coaching, I'm here to ensure your success. Join the ranks of those who have transformed their lives. It's time to align your physique goals with positive health outcomes. Visit compositionconsultant.com today and take the first step towards the best version of you. Build muscle and lose fat on the carnivore diet.